Hello, a very good morning. Welcome along to Ireland AM on Virgin Media 1. It is Tuesday, the 28th of November.
It is glorious to have you with us. Let's find out what's coming up on today's show.
Well, we'll start off on the right note. Have you got a favourite Christmas decoration? One that you've had for years? The other half is saying, whichever, throw that out, but it's got sentimental value. We would love to hear from you about the weird and wonderful pieces that still go on your Christmas tree, even though it drives everyone else mad.
Yes. And send us in pictures. Can you send us in pictures of what what does that mean?
The more wacky
you think
I'd
keep any old tack for my entire life?
Absolutely.
Alan was looking over us as we said sentimental value. He's like, what is that? Ew.
0896 111 111. Please do send it in. We've also got tips for a sustainable Christmas coming up at 7:45.
We do indeed. Plus, comedian Gearoid Farrelly will be telling us how he could have been delivering your Christmas cards. We'll be chatting to him in the 8 hour.
Also, we're going to have the latest reads to rate and to hate as part of our book review. That's coming up after 9.
And our very own sentimental value himself. All about the sentiment is our Alan Hughes.
Well, I have a Christmas tree that I must have now for about 10, 11 years. And that's good for the environment because we keep it up. We don't go out and buy new ones every year.
Fair play. Yeah, fair play.
And people always slag me. It looks like the exact same as last year. But
that's fine.
Oh, yeah, but Carl always says, but don't be putting a picture of that up because it looks like just put last year's picture up.
10 years ago.
Do you have any decorations that were made by someone, or are they all fancy?
I think I do. I'd have to have I can't remember them.
No, he does. Oh, so sentimental.
so sentimental. Lots to cover this morning. We have a chocolate treat in the kitchen. Plus, we're changing it up in fashion with some vintage wear. It's all about the jeans, how to style them, and then, of course, how to mind them. Now, Scotland might have its Loch Ness Monster, but the town of Omagh has a mysterious humming noise that our Derek has gone to investigate. Good morning, Derek. What's all this about this humming noise?
Yes, we'll reveal all in just a few moments' time. Welcome up here to County Tyrone this morning. It's a dry, settled, cold, chilly and frosty start with that mixture of bright spells and cloud cover with some patchy light rain across northern and eastern areas to take us right across the day. Now, as you mentioned, Al, Omagh's where we're at this morning. In fact, the town has been bathed in this humming noise over the last wee while. Now, it's been making national and international headlines over the last couple of weeks. Nobody knows where it comes from. It kicks off late at night, but we're up here to investigate. And we're going to be trying to find out where it's coming from, or are the people of Omagh actually going bonkers? So, Inspector Poirot, reporting for duty.
It's time now to take a look at this morning's papers, starting with The Sun. Its headline, football gone to VAR. VAR could be extended to checking corners, free kicks and yellow cards under what The Sun says are barmy plans, which will enrage football fans. The bombshell proposals are set to be discussed at a meeting in London today.
It is balmy. The Examiner leads with consent proposals removed from rape law. Justice Minister Helen McEntee has withdrawn significant proposals around consent in the government's major reform of existing rape laws. A provision in the legislation sought to change the legal test around consent.
The Mirror's front page, McGregor facing hate probe. Conor McGregor is now officially being investigated by Gardaí over alleged incitement to hatred around the Dublin riot. The UFC superstar's controversial tweets include, "Ireland, we are at war and you reap what you sow."
Yes, similarly, the Star leads with Conor riot tweet probe. Commissioner Harris revealed to Dublin City Council's Joint Policing Committee yesterday afternoon that there are now 3 live investigations over the horrific events of last Thursday.
The Irish Times goes with crackdown on thugs needed, councillors tell Garda chief. Dublin communities may form vigilante groups to protect themselves from violence unless Gardaí crack down on thugs and far-right extremists, councillors have told Garda Commissioner Drew Harris.
Far-right organised riots within 1 hour of stabbings. That's the front page of the Irish Independent. Prominent far-right activists were organising anti-immigrant protests within an hour of Thursday's stabbing attack in Dublin, a leading expert has said.
The Herald also goes with this story. Their headline, far-right on time for riots. The response time of Garda management to the developments that led up to the riot on O'Connell Street has come in for criticism after a desperate call for backup across divisions was only sent out at 7 p.m. last Thursday evening.
And finally, UK, Canada and Australia issue Dublin warnings. That's the top story on the Daily Mail. Visitors to Dublin were put on alert over riots and violence by the Canadian, the British and the Australian governments as tourism chiefs tried to repair the damage caused by last Thursday's events.
To be fair, of course, my sister rang from Australia being like, are you all okay?
Front page news, yeah.
Front page news. It had Gaza off the front pages in Australia. So after the break, we get the latest on that story with the fallout of last week's Dublin's riot.
Yeah, more on that just in a few. Good morning, you're very welcome back. Now, antisocial behaviour among young people in Dublin in particular has been on the rise since the pandemic, and we have seen during the riots last week that some were getting involved in looting and causing destruction.
We're discussing the riots and the rise of youth crime and whether we can look at youth in this way. News Talk's Andrea Gilligan and Head of Advocacy at Youth Work Ireland, Michael McLaughlin, join us this morning. Thank you both so much for being here. Michael, there's been an awful lot of focus put on very young people who were involved in these riots last week. And I remember even myself, I was really angry at it, going, what the hell do they think they're doing? But there's other issues at play here that we have to look at this in the round, because an awful lot of these young people are from incredibly vulnerable societies that got caught up in this, but were being pushed by other people. Like, do you think we have to look at this in a broader way rather than being like, we'll lock them up?
Yeah, it's understandable on the night in question, people get emotional, but over the next, few days later now, we've got to be a bit more, I think, calm and think about what are we going to do about a whole range of things. You saw it in your media roundup about social media, but when it comes to young people particularly, I think there was orchestration here. I think people are vulnerable, they do get drawn into these things. There's a longer term process there, and certainly we're involved in working with young people in the Gardaí around the country with diversion projects and that kind of stuff. That goes on behind the scenes, it's less visible. I think that needs to continue and even be increased, because in the end of the day, you will have a lot of people who are disconnected. Rioting is not normal behaviour. People only do it when they're in very extreme kind of circumstances. So I think when you take the longer term view, we have to have coordinated responses that kind of bring a lot of young people in from the margins, which many, despite the economy, many are still in very distant from society, to be honest.
Well, I mean, that's what a lot of things you're reading now. I mean, when you're talking about the people a lot of the people who are involved, they are the most vulnerable children and teenagers who are kind of trying to fight against the establishment, and this is an opportunity for them to do that because they feel forgotten. Andrea, from your point of view, on Thursday night, you did a live show, 10 o'clock. You must have been taking calls from people sharing such frustration. What did you hear from people?
I think it was in the moment on Thursday night, people were just looking for information and just factual, accurate information as to actually what was happening, because that, as we've seen in recent days,
see it on social media.
Yeah, has become really difficult, and it's something I think the government are trying to look at now as part of their, if you want to call it a range of different mechanisms that they're looking at in terms of how do we prevent something like this from happening again. So you have the whole focus around misinformation. So I think there was probably a bit of a vacuum. People felt that they were slow to even receive information from authorities as to what was happening, even just with regards to the likes of public bus services, transport services. But obviously in the moment, in terms of the Garda response and government response, that was probably perhaps maybe a little bit less of a priority on Thursday night. But
is there an issue here? Because I think at the heart of all this, we've got to remember that there are 3 very young people who had a vicious assault upon them and a teacher, right? And the next thing on Thursday night, like the stuff that I was hearing, like what they were saying about these young kids to incite more kind of hatred and violence, that it felt like there were lies and like no one knew what was true and what was not true. Well, and it's hard to kind of to get the message out there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're reading in some of the papers even today that it would appear that some of the groups or the accusations, some of the far right groups actually had orchestrated Thursday night's event within about an hour. Of the incident, and the stabbing incident happened. And you're right to point that out, Muireann. There's actually 3 separate investigations underway at the moment. I mean, you have the investigation into the stabbings, you have an investigation into the riots that took place, and you also now have an inquiry into the role of groups who orchestrated, I suppose, in many ways, the accusation that it was orchestrated as to what happened on Thursday night as well. So there's 3 different strands, I suppose, of the police in response to this. But I think, Tommy, sorry, just to go back to your initial question, I think people on Thursday night were terrified. They were scared. They were confused. And I think a lot of that came from the fact that there might have been a vacuum of information for people. I know when I certainly spoke to people on Thursday night, people were shocked to see the scenes that they witnessed and what they saw happening in Dublin. Because I suppose in many ways for many people, that's not something that you expect to see. It's not something we've witnessed before on the streets of our capital city. And I think a lot of people got a huge fright by what they witnessed on Thursday night.
A lot of people, I think, who aren't involved in... I think that there were definitely telltale signs out there, and I think that's what you're hearing a lot now, because we have seen a large rise in antisocial behaviour, Michael, on the street, particularly in Dublin, since the pandemic. Why is this? Why are we seeing... And it come to a crux, really, last Thursday.
Yeah, but I suppose it went down during the pandemic and it's gone back up to the levels it was, but it's still very high, sure. You get
higher, would you say, no?
I think what I read was that it's more or less back to where it was, but that's not saying it's still a serious problem. Look, no one's denying that, right? You've got a lot going on in the inner city. We're based there. You still have the whole drugs problem that no one's really mentioned. You know, a lot of young people are associated with the drug issue, either consuming or selling, and at the low level. You've got most kids, a huge number, out of school. You've got the whole housing crisis that... Okay, the middle class see it one way, but the inner city have a very different experience of that. So that's a lot of things going on.
What is that experience? Because that's the thing. It's all well and good for us to sit here and discuss this. But I don't live in an inner city community. And I'm not saying, like, I know when I go into areas and you're like, okay, God, it doesn't seem great here. But, like, I'm not living the day-to-day. And there is a day-to-day of it being grim for an awful lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, well, the housing issue impacts in all sorts of ways. If there's family breakdown, which often is connected with drugs, then people can find themselves in a very vulnerable situation. We actually even have youth homelessness, a lot of young people on the streets even connected with the drug trade. So, you know, these are complex issues. That doesn't in any way justify rioting, absolutely not. But it does mean we have to get to grips with those things over the next few weeks and months. We have to return to all those problems and make sure our responses are really well focused.
When you see the front page of the Irish Times this morning, it's calling these young people thugs. You know, do you think that, like, people questioning their right to exist in this city when they feel unwelcome and unlistened to, a lot of these young people?
Yeah, it can't be so hard to do both. Say, look, there's criminality and lawlessness happens on the Thursday night, and the people will have to face the consequences of that. But at the same time, we have much more, you know, bigger groups of people who weren't even there. You know, weren't even, because hundreds were on the streets, but thousands weren't. So those issues and questions about drugs, crime, Garda presence, community relations, they will continue. They're not going to go away, even if you lock up 20, 40 or 50 people after the riots.
I think we're looking at one aspect, and there was young people on the streets, right, from all over the place.
That's right.
But a lot of this, Andrew, is being organised by people online who live in their lovely houses, and they've managed to stoke up this anger and this sentiment. Is this something that the guards are now looking at? Because there's a lot of people who were organisers of what happened on Thursday night that weren't in Dublin city centre. Yeah, well, I mean, we're reading some of the papers today. There have been 34 arrests to date since Thursday night's riots, but we're now hearing that there's going to be, you know, the potential or the likelihood for even large-scale arrests. We mentioned the front of the Independent today, there's the accusation that some groups had organised, or the call out, I suppose, for people to come in and take part in a large-scale riot within an hour of what happened on Thursday afternoon. That too is part of a massive investigation now by the Gardaí. As I said, it's one of three different investigations. So I suppose there is the expectation from that there will be further arrests to take place, and from those, and from individuals or from groups as well, that would be accused of inciting and orchestrating actually what happened on Thursday night, and to do it online. There's also the question as well, I suppose, too, of the role of social media platforms as well in all of this, and what greater, stringent measures they can bring in to ensure that something like this, doesn't potentially happen again. But, one of the things that always strikes me, and from just even talking to the public in the programme as well, through the likes of antisocial behaviour, we have been talking about people feeling unsafe, people not feeling, that they're comfortable going into our city centre, into Dublin city centre, people talking about the lack of Garda presence, the number of assaults and attacks that have happened on members of the public. And that's a conversation that's been going on now for about 6 or 7 months. So
in many ways, one of the other elements of the points you're hearing from the public, Tommy, on Thursday night is that, you know, a lot of people are saying, are you actually surprised in many ways that this happened?
Yep.
Because this is going on really for months, and we're constantly talking about the Garda presence. And yes, there was the opening of the Garda station. I think, to the best of my memory, it's open till 2 a.m. on O'Connell Street in Dublin.
But Harcourt Street is gone. You know what I mean? Like, there's all these things.
Yeah, but this was the point being that, like, the public order unit were out and they were in force in Dublin on Thursday night. Public order members were seen back out again on Friday and on Saturday, and people talked about
they did. And last night they tried to organise a protest to the refugee centre in Eastwall, and the community said no. They absolutely said no, and they did not turn up for that. It's important to say that. Listen, Michael McLaughlin, Head of Advocacy and Communications for Youth Work Ireland, thank you so much for joining us. Andrea is staying with us. We'll be back with you in Ireland AM in just a minute.
Staying with us now, Israel and Hamas have agreed to extend the Gaza ceasefire by 2 days, today and tomorrow, after 11 more Israeli hostages were freed by Hamas last night.
And Andrea Gilligan from News Talk has stayed with us for these stories and more. Andrea, thank you so much for that. It is good news. Be nice if we weren't talking about a 2-day ceasefire and as though all hostages were being released, but it's something.
Yeah, like it's, I suppose the truce, the further truce of another 48 hours will prolong this pause, you know, that we've witnessed since Friday. It's hard to believe now that this has been going on actually for 7 weeks.
Yeah, it's
you know,
strange.
which in many ways has actually flown by. There's roughly maybe about 240 or so hostages at the moment. But I suppose on Friday, there was some reprieve in the sense that there was a ceasefire in return for the exchange of hostages. That 4-day ceasefire has ended, but it is now, as Alan pointed out, been extended by a further 2 days. And that
how many will be freed by the end of this 2 days? Do we know in total?
Well, at the moment, it's about 69 hostages that have been freed. That was to include the additional 11 that were released as of yesterday. I think the initial agreement was up to the fact that there had to be 50 Israeli women and children who've been held hostage had to be released, and then it could be any number, I suppose, of non-foreign nationals, and we've seen other European, German, Irish, French have since been released. But I suppose each day now that this 4-day truce, since it began on Friday, Hamas is going to continue to release further hostages. They're hoping that it will be in an exchange for about 10 hostages for each day that the ceasefire continues. So, I mean, if you're looking at yesterday and today, that would be a further 20 hostages, would be the plan. That's the numbers that would be released. But I suppose what other European, or with other governments, I suppose, are hoping might come from this at least is that, you know, if we see the pausing in violence, if we see the release of further hostages over the course of the next 48 hours, that there is maybe the potential with further intervention for perhaps this to again be prolonged and continue throughout the growing number of days. I suppose the other very significant element of this is to allow aid, and very much needed aid and resources
to Gaza,
into the Gaza Strip as well. And you know,
it's just important to remember 1.6 million Gazans have been displaced. They no longer live in their own homes. I know that the UN Under-Secretary for General Humanitarian Affairs was like, they've stopped counting how many children have died once they got to 4,500, because they just keep dying. And we're continuing this. Of course, there are hostages there that need to be freed. I completely understand that, but we're only getting 2 days out of this, and what's the destruction going to be like?
And Benjamin Nahu said that it's going to continue. Like, they're determined that this will continue. They want to defeat Hamas.
Yeah, I think that's and that has been a point, I suppose, that has been made, you know, very clear from the early outset of this, or certainly over the past number of weeks. Hopefully, though, you'd like to maybe think that there might be some reprieve between the intervention of the past number of days, but how likely that is to continue, I mean, we don't know, you know.
We were all looking yesterday, Mary Robinson was on the news here chatting. She was in UCC, but she was talking about what's going on with COP28 in the UAE, and says it's worrying that they're using their role as hosts of COP28 to go, How are you, Britain? We'll be doing all oil deal. When it's all meant to be about saving the planet.
Can you tell us what COP28 is?
So it's basically a meeting to try and coordinate the global government, global nation response to the climate crisis, climate situation. I mean, we've had, I don't know how many reports at this stage, Alan, released throughout the past year talking about the fact that so many countries are way off their targets and us basically well up at the height of that. With the former Irish President Mary Robinson was commenting on yesterday was this BBC report that was leaked to some independent environmental journalists who were over in the UAE, in Dubai for COP28, and what it seems to indicate is the Emiratis' plans to try and use their role as the host of COP28 as Murren says, an opportunity to kind of strike a deal around gas and the use of
the gas thing, they haven't denied it. They're saying private meetings are private meetings.
Yeah, absolutely. and what they've said is that, yes, there will be COP28 will take place and there will be all of the discussions around that with 27 other foreign ministries. However, we are within our remit permitted to have private conversations, private discussions, private meetings, deals, whatever you want to call it, and wouldn't be drawn out on what might take place during those discussions. However, this BBC report that has been leaked indicates...
Literally some days I'm like, what's the point?
It is crazy because, as Mary Robinson said, the optics of something like this are so important. And if you think these leaders are getting together to try and save the planet, and then you have...
They're not, though.
But I know, but they're not. But look, the optics should be there, at least.
And optics are important,
they are very important. But if you see this, that they're private side meetings going, can we do an oil deal here? Can we do this? It's crazy.
Listen, I need to cheer up a little bit. There's some good news today, and that is Christmas FM is back.
Yeah.
Because I can't think about governments anymore.
It's in its 16th year, which I just think is pretty incredible.
Now, could you listen to it all day, though?
No, but you dip in and out.
Dip in and out.
You couldn't listen to us all day either. But so it's for charity as well, which is an important thing to do.
I think it's about 35,000 in the first year for the ISPCC, now in its 16th year, and it is flat out Christmas tunes all day long.
What's your favourite?
Carol of the Bells.
Oh, very nice.
Very posh. What's yours?
Oh, like Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You, Alan.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
Have we got it?
How predictable.
He's playing it. I need to watch Home Alone now. Oh, they're moved on.
It's just brilliant. It has to be the best Christmas tune out there.
What's yours? Something from his panto.
No, Fairy Tale of New York. And they're saying that might be banned this year.
They have this discussion every year about Fairy Tale of New York, and Fairy Tale of New York always comes through.
I just think when Fairy Tale of New York comes on,
you just get happy.
Yeah. Is it just what? Is it the memories? Is it makes you want to?
Well, yeah, because I lived in New York and it was over Christmas and stuff like that, and it just has that
nostalgia.
Sort of nostalgia.
We're not going into whether it should be banned or anything like that. Come on, just tell us. We'll play a few Christmas songs today. Tell us your favourite.
Go on, tell us your favourite Christmas song.
111 Andrea Gilligan. After that, thank God we got a bit of Mariah Carey. Thank you so much from Lunchtime Live.
And the boys of the NYPD choir. There you go.
That is a great choice.
That's a good one.
That's a great choice. Yeah.
I love that one. Okay, we have to go now. We're just going to play this more. We're back in a minute on Ireland AM.
Good morning. Now, we've got some good news.
Do we?
Oh, we do. For a change. Healthy competition has come back to the energy market, meaning providers are going to have to introduce price cuts. They have introduced price cuts.
Look how happy he is. Did you ever expect John Bowe to be this happy about price cuts? Here to discuss the changing market and electricity price reductions, as well as the introduction of a brand new electricity credit, is consumer advisor Dara Cassidy from bonkers.ie. Look how excited you've gotten Tommy Bowe this morning.
Very excited.
Very excited. So we were reading yesterday on the front of the papers that there is a new energy supplier in the Irish market and is going to be a game changer.
Yeah, so there's a new supplier called Gearoid, which viewers may be aware of. They they entered the market a few months ago, and since they've entered, they've kind of, I suppose, sparked, to excuse the pun, a bit of competition back into the market, because everyone will know that the past maybe 2 years have been pretty tough for households. Energy prices have been at record levels, but now prices are beginning to kind of reduce a little bit. There's some discounts back in the market, particularly for new customers, and this new supplier, Energy, has kind of sparked, like I said, competition, and there's some really, really good deals now for new customers who are prepared to switch in particular.
OK, because we've seen, like Pinergy, they announced 2 electricity price reductions. I know Flow Gas reduced 30% as well. So what do offer to customers potentially if they were to switch?
Yeah, so they're offering the cheapest rate at the moment on the market. Now, it's a fixed tariff for 1 year, which means the price doesn't change for 1 year, so it's fixed. So at least you do get some peace of mind and certainty as to where your electricity costs are going to go. But there's kind of 2 things happening in the market at the moment, because in November, at the start of the month, you might remember, there was all of these price decreases from all of the suppliers that you've kind of mentioned there. But on top of that, what viewers need to remember is, as well as the normal price decreases, suppliers are also in competition for new customers. So they're offering even bigger discounts and more price decreases for people who switch. And it kind of seems to be a bit of a tit for tat between some of the suppliers at the moment to have, the cheapest deal on the entire market. So we've had Flow Gas, we've had SSE Electricity, Energy, all kind of coming out, kind of offering these even, further discounts, as well as the ones that everyone else got at the start of the month, offering further discounts to kind of have on their advertising that we're the cheapest. So it's great for consumers.
It was interesting, though, because when Pinergy were offering those things, they got such a good PR. It was like, you're the most expensive lads in the market and you're kind of just bringing yourself down. So can we talk about energy prices in Ireland in comparison to Europe? Are we still at the top?
We are, unfortunately.
We are,
So I don't want to kind of shy away from that. So the discounts that we saw at the start of November were around maybe 10 to 15%, and that was off a really, really high level, and that still left our prices around double normal levels.
Double normal levels.
So it is going to be still an expensive winter for people to heat and light their homes, so we can't shy away from that. But if you look at some of the discounts from Energy and SSE Electricity, they're getting energy down to around maybe 30 to 31 cents, including VAT per kilowatt hour, which is still high, but it's a good bit down than the maybe 40 to 45 cents that we were being charged last year. So there has been some big drops, particularly for people who are prepared to switch, but I'm not going to shy away from the fact the prices are still high.
Because there are countries in Europe that get 16.7% per unit energy.
Really, really cheap.
Let's not worry about them. We know we're not getting
I know, I just want to say, let's not go, aren't you all a great bunch of lads? We are still the top of the market.
Yeah, but there's a lot of structural, I think, inefficiencies in the Irish electricity market as well, just kind of how we generate electricity, and unfortunately everything in this country is expensive.
For people who want to get avail of this, so if they're getting electricity credits, if you switch, do they go across?
So, good question. So a lot of people are afraid to switch because there are those free €150 credits that are being given out at the moment, and yes, you can still switch because the credit follows you. How it happens is that the government pays the credit, and basically all the energy suppliers just then pay it to whoever is with them at any particular time. So don't feel that you can't switch because you'll still get the credit. And what I'd be saying to people is there's a €450 electricity credit, which would be great, but why not save another €450 by switching?
What about, so fixed price, Flow Gas and are offering fixed price?
Don't have gas, though.
Don't have gas yet. They're hoping to offer it next year. So if somebody wants dual fuel, so both fuels together, maybe they mightn't be right for them. But yeah,
fixed is good. Like it just peace of mind in kind of the climate that we're in, where things are all over the place.
No, it is. I mean, sometimes it can, if we think prices are going down, if you lock into a fixed rate, it's like a mortgage rate. If you lock into a fixed rate and you think prices are going to go down, it can sometimes be a bad decision. But if you look at UNO's rate at the moment, like I said, it's around 31.5 cents, 31.55 cents, I think, including VAT. Even if the other suppliers reduce their prices, because their standard rates are a good bit higher, even if prices do fall in the spring, which I think they will, I actually still think that rate from UNO at the moment is still going to be quite good value. So
is there a catch on it? If you sign, because you offer these things, they'll get it back.
No, there's not. I mean, they have a good app. I suppose the thing is that they don't offer gas, really, which is the only thing. So some people who do like to get maybe all their bills from one people is one way to go. But what I would say to people is that, there are several suppliers out there. There's choice, there's other deals. So if you don't like that supplier, you can go to someone else.
There are plenty of them. We don't have a favourite here. There are plenty of other suppliers. We'd love to hear from you if you're one of those people who's reticent to switch and maybe you have And have you saved a bit of money? Because that's the thing. It's the people who don't switch that save a lot of money.
Particularly to people who probably did switch 2-3 years ago, where the prices really are
exactly.
very
If you haven't switched in a while, definitely need to do it because you'll be paying top rates and you don't want to be doing that.
We'd love to hear from you. 0896 111 111. As always, Dara Cassidy from Bonkers.ie. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Advice,
Cheers.
Dara. Thank you for that. Still to come this morning, comedian Gearoid Farrelly chats touring with Joanne McNally and going solo.
Plus, we'll have we're going to have decorating tips for Christmas. We're going to do that. We'll talk to you in a minute on Ireland Day. Now it's time to take a look at this morning's paper, starting with The Sun. Its headline, football gone to VAR. VAR could be extended to checking corners, free kicks and yellow cards under what The Sun says are barmy plans, which will enrage footy fans. The bombshell proposals are set to be discussed at a meeting in London today.
That is insane. The Examiner leads with consent proposal removed from rape law. Justice Minister Helen McEntee has withdrawn significant proposals around the consent in government's major reform of the existing rape laws. A provision in the legislation sought to change the legal test around consent.
The Mirror goes with McGregor facing hate probe. Conor McGregor is now officially being investigated by Gardaí over an alleged incitement to hatred around the Dublin riot. The UFC star's controversial tweets include "Ireland, we are at war and you reap what you sow," amongst others.
Similarly, the Star leads with Conor riot tweet probe. Commissioner Harris revealed to Dublin City Council's Joint Policing Committee yesterday afternoon that there are now 3 live investigations over the horrific events of last Thursday.
The Irish Times front page crackdown on thugs needed, councillors tell Garda chief. Dublin communities may form vigilante groups to protect themselves from violence unless Gardaí crack down on thugs and far-right extremists, councillors have told Garda Commissioner Drew Harris.
Far-right organised riots within 1 hour of stabbings. That's the front page of the Irish Independent. Prominent far-right activists were organising anti-immigrant protests within an hour of Thursday's stabbing attack in Dublin, a leading expert has said.
The Herald also goes with that story there, headline "Far-right on time for riots." The response time of Garda management to the developments that led up to the riot on O'Connell Street has come in for criticism after a desperate call for backup across divisions was only sent out last Thursday at 7 p.m.
And finally, UK, Canada and Australia issued Dublin warnings is the top story on the Daily Mail. Visitors to Dublin were put on alert over riots and violence by the Canadian, British and Australian governments as tourism chiefs tried to repair the damage caused by last Thursday's events. A lot of text through on what happened last Thursday, and we were speaking about a lot of the young people and the people, disaffected youth, who were maybe, read stuff online, who felt that this is an opportunity to come out and cause trouble. And we have a text in, though, from somebody, another Anne, who said, "I think the youth of today are very well provided for. It wasn't only the young who went through COVID. We all did it. So stop using it as an excuse."
Yeah, but look, like you were talking about this with Andrea earlier on. This has been brewing. Sure, remember like weeks ago the stabbings and the assaults in Dublin city centre, and they put another 10 million into resources and stuff like that. This has been brewing. They know that this was going to happen.
Yeah, but we have to remember.
We didn't think maybe to that scale.
But we have to remember this has been organised by people who aren't from inner city
yeah,
Dublin. Let's remember that. Let's not point at young kids and go, "Well, it's your fault."
No, I'm not saying, but
I'm saying it got stoked.
There's definitely
up
a problem in Dublin.
I think that it didn't take much to stoke that unrest, because
exactly.
there are people who are feeling that they're unheard, and people in inner city Dublin who just feel that the system is against
But again,
them.
last night, I would like to say that there was a protest planned, a peaceful vigil planned for East Wall, where the refugee centre is, and the locals in the community said absolutely not. Not after what happened last Thursday.
And they don't want the violence around their area. Nobody does want to see a repeat of that from last week. But there was better news as well. We were sort of saying that Christmas FM is back on air. And so the music, the Christmas music, the Christmas cheer is here. And we were asking you about, we're talking about sustainability.
It's still a bit early,
no.
Sorry, do you see what's happened?
Hello, have you seen it? We've thrown up Christmas in the studio.
Get it to December. Anyway, go on, right, let's
And we were talking about
we're
going to be talking about sustainability. I said I had a Christmas tree for 10 years. And
threw it out.
no,
Oh, right.
I have it here. And Mary says, I have a Christmas tree for over 25 years. Can't show a photo as I don't put it up till the 6th of December, which is
Thank
the
you,
right
Mary.
time to
Thank
put
you,
it up,
Mary.
says Mary.
Well done, Mary. Michael has sent us in a picture. We were talking about decorations, old decorations. Michael sent in a picture of his favourite Christmas decoration. It's a decoration spelling out the word crack in gold.
Oh, look at that. Love it. That's brilliant.
What? Like, is that a new one, Michael, or is that's...
It's one of his favourites.
It's one of his favourite. Okay, I love this
Thank
one
you.
now. The picture, my in-laws insist on putting this scary-looking angel on the tree every year. Can we see? Oh!
That's the stuff I want. More of this.
My wife and her siblings used to fight over who to put it on the tree. Now we fight not to put it on, as it seems whoever puts it on has bad luck for the following year.
I love it.
No, that's a scary-looking angel.
Emma just said, I'm 39, my brother's 42, and my parents still have the decorations we made in school many years ago and her angel on top of the tree that they got when they were married in 1979. Still going strong.
No, that's
Send us a
sustainability.
picture. I want to see, like, send us in a picture. The
we
oldest
have more
decorations
scary
we can
angels?
We had it, the earliest Christmas tree we got heard that went up was October 16th.
Yes.
So what's
You are obsessed with that tree.
what's the oldest Christmas decoration we can get? Anyway, thank you.
0896 111 111. We would love to hear from you and send in those pictures as well. Up next, our favourite agony uncle, comedian Gearoid Farrelly, will be stopping by for a chat.
See you in a few minutes. I'd say he's a few.
Welcome back. Now, our next guest is open for the likes of, I don't know, Sarah Millican, John McNally, Joan Rivers. She was just going to work.
Rivers.
The Joan Rivers.
Yes, his own tour continues to sell out. Gearoid Farrelly joins us now to let us know the secret of his success. Good morning.
Good morning.
To
How are you?
I mean, they're not bad names to be.
No, they're good company to be in, isn't it?
It is. It is.
I'm a professional bridesmaid.
Just about to say, you love the gals, don't you? Love the gals.
Yeah, proper bridesmaid.
And it's not just them that you're open for in the comedy circuit. You're also the podcast circuit, which is doing pretty well as well. Neve Kavanagh as well. Agony Rants.
Yes, that's right.
You just missed out to the two Johnnies.
I know, yeah, it was the
recently.
podcast awards. Now, we're not taking that seriously.
Of course not. Yeah.
No,
we're not.
not at all. What happened was we were nominated for Best Comedy, and we were like, we're not going to win that. We're definitely not going to win that. And then when we went in, they were like, oh, can we get an interview with you? So we were like, yeah, grand. And then they said they were interviewing the winners.
That's always a good sign.
So
yeah.
they were only interviewing winners. So we were like, I think we've won. I think it's pretty certain we've won. But then I realised it was Neve Kavanagh they wanted to interview. And we were like, OK, fine. We didn't win. Fine. Massive disappointment.
They're like, can we make her sing? Is this what we need to do? Listening to that podcast is just a bit of a joy, though. Agony Rants.
Yeah.
Because Neve is your gas. It's your job to be funny. And And then Neve Kavanagh just comes out with these things.
She's very funny.
She's very funny.
And it's a problem. It is a problem.
You don't like it?
I don't like it. People keep coming up to me after shows and saying, oh, Neve Kavanagh's so funny. And the next person that does is going to have to listen to me sing In Your Eyes. Because I've had enough now.
That's what you have to do.
Enough is enough.
You need to encroach on her space.
Yeah, I'm just cutting out all her jokes.
She's just too talented. I mean, like...
She is very talented.
Sickening, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you're pretty talented too.
Thanks, Tommy.
Did you sing with her? Like, I mean, she's kind of encroaching on your comedy, but you've encroached on her, like, singing as well at another stage, did you?
No, what we did was, a couple of years ago at the podcast festival, because I can play piano and guitar, but I'm incredibly bad at both of them. No.
Okay.
And I've said this to Neve.
Loads of things too, but yeah.
I've said this to Neve, I'm very bad. I've no rhythm. Like, I can play the notes, but I've very bad rhythm. And she wanted me to accompany her at this thing that we were doing at the podcast festival. And I was like, I'm actually really bad. And she's like, you'd be grand. And then when I started to play, she's like, oh no, you're very bad, actually. Yeah, this is you're terrible.
You're like, you're Neve Kavanagh telling me I'm bad.
Yeah. Oh, no, I think that's fair enough. It's absolutely fair enough.
But when you kind of knew, because I think, at the anniversary of Eurovision this year, the anniversary of ABBA's win and all that kind of stuff, like, you knew that she was going to be making an appearance. Like, she was going to be doing, like, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we said it on the podcast and apparently we shouldn't have. So, yeah.
Because I remember watching that and I was like, are people meant to know?
Well, what was interesting about that was we always refer to Sonia, or to Neve as Sonia's nemesis, because she beat Sonia in the Eurovision in 1993.
Yes.
And then when Neve came on the screen at the Eurovision, Graham Norton referred to her as Sonia's nemesis. So we think he could listen to Agony Rants.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes, of course
Yeah.
he
I mean, we're not going to
does.
try and confirm it because he probably doesn't.
Ah, listen, guaranteed he does. Let's just put it
Yeah.
down as your biggest fan.
But with the podcast, we should say, like, it is just you sitting down kind of solving, like, people really do get in contact. That's one thing you discover about podcasts. People really want to get in contact.
They really do.
Yeah.
They really do. And I always say, you know, look, if you're going to a comedian and a Eurovision winner with your problems, you've bigger problems. you take what you can get in that situation. But yeah, people seem to write in, and like we get follow-ups every so often as to, you know, what happened, and we haven't ruined any lives yet.
That's good. Good, fair play.
One of your other gal pals, of course, Joanne McNally. The two of you take the mickey out of each other a lot. But tell us what the story is. Like, so comedy, you've gone full steam ahead with it at the moment. But there was a time where you were questioning, am I going to go down this route? Am I going to go down... And, like, you're actually going to become a postman as well, and she talked you out of it. Is that true?
It's sort of true. What happened...
Okay. Don't let the truth
What a
get in the way of
career
your
I've had.
story.
I just realised what a horrible career I've had. No, I was doing comedy for a while, and it was going grand. Then the pandemic hit, and I kind of felt, well, oh, look, it's time to knock this on the head. I've done reasonably well. I've lovely stories to tell. You know, do something else. And I applied for a job with Post and got it, and I was going to take it, and then Joanne said, no, go back to just doing what you used to do. So I said, okay, I ended up doing a postgrad in IT, because that's what I did back in the day.
Yeah, right.
And then went on her tour and realised that the postgrad was a complete waste of time.
Yeah.
I should have just had a nice pandemic watching Netflix like everybody else.
Enjoyed yourself rather than freaking out, because let's talk about that.
I did envy the postmen, though, during the pandemic.
They were out and about.
It's my
They had the
favourite
best time
job. I
ever.
think it's one of the best jobs you can have.
I
as a
worked in
postman.
Post, the sorting
Did you?
centre in Limerick. It was amazing.
I love the postman.
love it.
Yeah, I just love the idea. I think it's a great job.
It's great.
It was lovely. But let's talk about what happened when you ended up going out on the Prosecco Express with Joanne McNally.
Yes.
Because, my God, Gearoid, and I'm a fan, obviously. There's like an air of, I think Louise O'Neill, the author, put it in a great way, that there's an edge of danger about this woman. And my God, the crowd are rabid.
Oh, they're amazing.
They're
amazing.
amazing.
They're absolutely and I don't think there's ever been a crowd like that, because I think Joanne brought so many people to comedy, and you can see it in Irish comedy at the moment. Everyone is having a great time. Everyone's selling, and I think that's because there is this massive new audience to Irish comedy, and it's been brought in by her. You know, she's a one-woman machine.
She's unbelievable.
To sell
It's
on
amazing.
Vicar Street as many times as she had.
She lives there now.
Yes, it is
She
incredible.
lives there.
Although she could be cancelled quite soon with the amount of details that you give behind the scenes. Like, it's kind of social media.
Knock her on the head there, Tommy.
I was just about to say, there's different Joanne.
Like, you share a lot of kind of behind the scenes slag and whatever else. Is it getting, like, you worried?
No, we're very nice people. Anna, we have a good time, and we are really good friends. So, you know, I have had situations where it happened one time, actually, I was in the supermarket, and a woman came up to me and said, do you really have a travel kettle? And I was like, who the hell is this person, and how does she know this? And then I realised that Joanne had talked about it on the podcast.
On the podcast.
And yes, I do.
Yeah, and yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
We reveal details about each other on our respective podcasts, and look.
And all
That's the way it
respect with the travel kettle when you're on the road as much as you are, because you've got your own show, Glamour Hammer, which, my God, Gearoid, it's doing so well.
Yeah, I mean, it's been incredible. I would normally do a tour that was like 20 or 25 dates maybe, but this has gone on for a year and a bit. We're doing the last 20 dates after Christmas, and then it just has to be knocked on the head.
You're writing, you will do a new show.
Yeah, I'm writing a new show at the moment, yeah. So I'm tearing my hair out.
Will that new show involve you showing your bum on stage? What happened?
Oh, okay, yeah, I know what happened. It wasn't my bum that showed today. I did have an incident in Edinburgh last time I was there, where I was doing a showcase. I was on one of those showcase gigs, which they're a bit like, it's always a bit crusty early in the morning, like they're 12 o'clock, everyone's a bit dull, and I realised I forgot my belt for my jeans, because I have a baggy pair of jeans that I always wear in Edinburgh, because, you know, you expand over the month. It's just the way it goes.
Gotcha, yeah.
And I realised I'd forgotten my belt, and halfway through the set, I think I was doing it's 12 minutes or something, I realised my jeans are actually starting to fall down now, and I am working pretty hard here, so I can't stop to pull them up.
And you just...
And just as I walked off stage, yeah,
you give people.
that out,
Oh,
yeah.
that's a sort of encore.
I'm not
or
proud.
They're going to remember you, aren't they? They're going to be like, that fella. I remember that
Before
fella.
we came on, we were talking cats. I have to quickly ask you about Boots because you have a bit of time now over Christmas. Like, I'd love to know what you do in this period because you actually trained your cat to sit on the toilet, on a toilet, a proper toilet.
Well, look,
go
before-
to the toilet.
before
Like,
I
what
was-
other tricks can this cat do?
But before I was doing so many shows, I had a lot of time on my hands, Tommy. Yeah, I trained her to use the loo. I still think it's the proudest thing.
It's a I'm sorry, I've been obsessed with this cat for so many
Is
years.
that a number one or a number two?
That's a number one.
Can
Yeah,
it go?
yeah.
Can it go both? Like,
Oh, she does both. Yeah, now,
That's unbelievable.
sometimes she will do a number two on the floor, but that's purely for revenge.
Can she flush?
No, she can't flush. She's got
Can
weak
after
little
this
wrists.
Christmas.
Yeah, she's going to
If
be
you've
learning.
given her the wrong food, she's like, I know what I'm going to do today.
Oh yeah, it's pure revenge. And if she does something on the floor, she calls you to show you. just to let you know, this is what I did.
Cat call.
Yeah.
Cat call, a literal.
Gearoid, it's brilliant to have you with us. Listen, your new show, Glamour Hammer, the tour is going to continue in 2024, 20 more dates. If you want
final
to
rinse.
find it, GearoidFarrelly.com. And of course, check out the podcast. It is worth checking out. Agony Rants with Niamh Kavanagh.
Thanks very much.
Star, great to have you with us. Thanks so much.
So good to have you in today.
Trying to capture that. That's amazing.
This is what this man can do.
Talented. Still to come, Edward Hayden is in the kitchen with a scrumptious chocolate sponge.
You have to bring her on the road at some stage and just do. Anyway, we'll stop thinking about Boots going to the loo. Plus, we've got tips and tricks on how to have a happy and sustainable Christmas. We'll talk to you very shortly on Ireland AM.
Now, have you ever cooked a chocolate cake? Have you ever cooked a chocolate cake?
I've never baked.
You've never baked?
Never baked.
Well, this is one for you because our man here has told me this is one for baking enthusiasts, but it's dead easy.
Edward
Yes, but
Hayden is
it
in
needs
the
to be an enthusiast.
Yeah, but you need to be enthusiastic about baking, though. Yeah.
This is his chance. I'd like to give this a try because you've assured me this is...
This is an easy one, Edward.
This is a very easy one, but you noticed there wasn't a sense of shock on my face when
When
Alan
I
said
said
I've never baked.
No, yeah.
I was happy with that.
But
Now,
chocolate cake, it's... Yeah, OK.
chocolate
lovely.
cake, there's
Go on.
600 million recipes for chocolate cake. This is a very basic, kind of almost like a Victoria sponge recipe, but it's that perfect.
No, I like a Victoria sponge.
Yeah, well, you like this, and I'd say you love this. I see you have the big cup of tea. You're ready. You're ready
well,
to
my
go.
big cup of hot milk.
Yeah, you're ready to go. And I suppose what I'd say to you, this is the real get-out-of-jail-free chocolate cake, that you could have this made in zip time, and it's just very simple. There's no bells and whistles. But, I mean, sometimes no bells and whistles is the best way to go.
Yeah.
So what I've got is I've got 8 ounces, 225 grams of butter, and I've got the same amount there of sugar. So I'm going to pop that onto the machine, and I'm just going to allow that to cream up really nicely.
What's that
That's the
scooper?
paddle. That's the paddle attachment.
Okay.
And that's the big thing I'd remind people. Very good, Tommy, that you said that.
talking about?
Oh, listen, come here.
about?
What do you mean the paddle? What do you...
The thing
Are we on a boat?
the whisk thing.
So
Oh, in this.
that's the kind of the spade or the paddle as such. And you always do that, not sometimes, the whisk is only used for kind of like whisking cream or making like a genuine sponge or a fatless sponge.
Okay.
So when you're creaming anything, it's the
So
paddle.
if you don't have one of these at home, what are you doing?
You can use the electric hand whisk, or
And if you
could
don't have an electric hand mist,
sit down with the bowl on your lap and
There
just
you go,
cream
like
away
that.
for sport. Cream for sport. Now, what I've got here is I've got 2 8-inch tins. This is a sandwich tin. So I've got 2 8-inch tins here, which I've just buttered or greased. And then I've cut a piece of parchment paper. So what you want is you want a piece of parchment paper that's wide enough for the bottom of the tin, just like so. So what I'm going to do is, and I'm obviously doing it in duplicates just in case you're wondering. So I'm going to fold it in half, just like so.
Right.
I'm going to keep my finger along the middle of that centre line. I'm then going to fold it down into quarters, and then I'm going to fold it into
Again?
a little triangle, just like so.
like Mary May could do here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm the new Mary Fitzgerald. Now, I'm just going to tear that along there, just like so.
And which part did you...
see, and then you have...
And then you've got a little circular disc to put
Look
at
at
the
Tommy's
bottom
face.
of your tin.
Wow.
And that's your tin baseline,
So hold
just
on, let me
like
hold
so.
that bit up then.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
So that was the bit that was folded there.
Yeah, so if
this
you
is
open
the
that out,
loose
you'll
part.
see. Yeah, you open that out, you'll see a bit with a circle in it.
Look
There you
at
have it.
that. Here we go.
Yeah, that's very clever, Edward.
There you have it.
Very good.
There you have it. Now,
So
into
fold
that.
Not dealing with muck here.
Yeah, there you
Fold
have it. Do my
and then you
best.
fold that bit.
I'll show you that now, Tommy, again during the break. We'll practice. I have a big roll of parchment. We'll practice here.
I have one of the tins that has the thing that pops up.
The loose, yeah, absolutely.
But
you could just do that. You'd baseline it, but I would still
need the parchment
use the parchment paper.
Okay.
4 eggs gone in here, 8 ounces, 225 grams of self-raising flour, and an ounce of cocoa. And what I normally do then is I just give that a little preliminary mix there, scrape it all down and get that going just like so. So I'm going to pop that back onto it. Whilst I'm popping that back on, I'm just going to work in a little bit of reverse.
Edward, in fairness, if you didn't have an electric mixer, there's a lot of mixing on this.
Yeah, absolutely. But you could stay out of the gym that day and that would be your workout.
There you go. That would be your arms.
Absolutely, yeah.
Do you have one of those mixers? No.
Why would I have one?
Why would he be? Absolutely.
Why would I have one of them?
He has a lovely ornament in the corner. He doesn't need another one.
Get you one for Christmas.
Now, so there we have it,
right.
just like so. Now, what I'm going to do is, and again, if you were at home, obviously just leave that a little bit longer to cream, just for the purposes of finishing it. I just want to show you. So then what I'm going to do is just give it a little mix, and I'm going to divide that mixture between our tins, okay? So divide that mixture between our 2 tins, which I have ready to go here, baselined, and just put it in. It will spread out nicely in the oven. So just make sure that you're getting roughly the same amount in each. 180, 350 gas mark 4 for just shy of 20 minutes. Okay.
20 minutes.
So spread that out. As I said, you don't need to do too much spreading on it because it'll spread sufficiently in the oven. It'll just melt down
I have the mixture?
nicely. Of course, you can pass the bowl.
You want to mix you on? You're going to taste that, are you?
Oh, yeah.
Pop that in there. Now, very quickly then, I just want to show you.
This is my son's diet.
Yeah. That was all of our diets.
Oh,
now, so I have these out after 20 minutes. I've taken the parchment paper off. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you...
20 minutes in the oven.
20 minutes in the oven.
Come out like that.
There you have it. And I've made some butter icing. So I have got some butter. So I've got 3 ounces of butter. I've got 6 ounces. So 1 part butter, 2 part icing sugar. Cream that really well. And I've just mixed that with some melted chocolate. And then if I can just show you, I'm just going to pipe some of this right across the centre. Don't need to get too excited about the centre. We'll do it extra nice on the top. I'm going to put some of this. I might just pop that in there as well. I'm going to pop my next cake then on the top, just like so. And then if you had a little bit of time, you could just do some lovely swirls of icing on the top. And, or you could spread it and use a fork. But just what's really nice is just to have it. It's very simple, and you can see that even the piping just gives it that lovely elevated look. And then what I've got here is I've just got a little bit of grated dark and white chocolate, and I'm going to just sprinkle some of that across the top. But it's just a really nice cake.
That's after coming together beautifully.
There you have it.
That is multitasking.
But it's really nice. It's a very simple cake. And as I said to you, I've called it in the recipe, it's like that tea time treat.
Look at that.
Isn't it lovely?
Delicious. That looks delicious.
Class.
So it's just that tea time treat. You would have it made in zip time. The lovely icing on that is lovely. And flavour it around to suit yourself. So think of using maybe a bit of lemon, think of using some orange. You can just use the plain vanilla if you so desire
you're saying like,
as well.
Victoria sponge, would that be exactly the same without the chocolate stuff in
so
it? It's exactly the same mixture.
And a Victoria sponge classically would have jam and whipped cream.
Yeah.
I've used the buttercream there as well.
Absolutely delicious. Well done.
You'll have a child's birthday, Tommy.
You have knocked that out of the park.
I want to see that for the child's
piping
birthday.
Covers up all problems as well. Thank you,
There was no problems.
Thank you, Edward. After the break, we're going to be learning how to enjoy an eco-friendly Christmas. We'll see you back here in a few minutes.
Beautiful.
Now the holiday season is creeping up on us, and we're all enjoying an eco-friendly celebration this morning.
Holiday season, very American.
The holiday season.
Here to tell us how to have like a happy Christmas, but also be nice to the environment.
Yes,
it is
it's important.
sustainability expert Pat Kane. Good morning, Pat. How are you?
How are you?
I suppose when we talk about Christmas, often it does come up, right? The Christmas tree.
Yeah.
What's a sustainable way to have a Christmas tree?
Well, so the thing is, right, we have fake trees and we have real trees. So the best you can do, really, is to go for something that is either potted or something that's rented. Believe it or not, you can rent Christmas trees.
And give them back and they repot them.
Exactly. Or you can dress a house plant, if that's your jam, if you have something at home.
Yeah.
But the reality is people will want sometimes to have a plastic tree. If you are going for one, and I know you have a good one there, a long-standing one.
Well, I have it 10 years, so I think I've done my bit sustainability-wise there, yeah.
So the American Christmas Tree Association, believe it or not, it exists, tells us that we need to keep it for at least 5 years to compensate on the carbon emissions of that tree.
But
I don't know why you'd ever throw it out.
I was going to say that. Like, if you buy a nice one, you'll have it for 20 years,
Absolutely. Surely. That's it. Buy and keep.
It's probably the little cheapy ones that you buy and then they look and they break.
The most sustainable thing is if you have a plastic one, keep it forever.
Just keep it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah. And then for the rest of us, I'm getting a real Christmas tree.
Is this a, this is a real one here?
This is a potted one, coming from an Irish company. This is potted, and it's great because you can keep it in the garden during the year and then bring it in.
I was going to say that'd be lovely then, just to put out in your garden. You're not trying to get rid of it then after Christmas.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and there's a lot of those Christmas tree farms that it's like you buy one and they're going to paint, they're going to plant 2 others for everyone that you buy and all that kind of stuff. So
and like, if you're buying a cut one, go for locally sourced.
Yeah.
You know, as close to you as possible to reduce the emissions.
Okay.
Let's see how it goes. Okay, right. Now we've been asking people to send in their lovely Christmas decorations. The weirder, the better. Hopefully ones that are made as well. 0896
The weird-looking fairy. We've had a weird-looking fairy.
Love a weird-looking fairy. So talk to us about Christmas decorations, because I suppose there is a lot of plastic out there.
There is. But what I'm saying is, if you are going for the more plastic, glittery options, try and make sure that you mind them and keep them for as long as possible. Now, if you can, choose local, choose handmade, choose compostable or biodegradable options.
So you have lovely ones like this little photo frame, which is my first Christmas.
Yes.
And that is something that you're going to keep every year. That's going to come back every year. That's wood. And you've also wood and felt little gingerbread men and stuff like that.
We have even like soap ones. You know, there's a little soap star over here, which is gorgeous. Smells incredible. Made in Kildare by a lady called Johnny.
That's a good idea, actually.
Gorgeous.
Will that not melt?
No, it won't. It won't.
All right.
No? No. It's pretty good. That's a pretty good one. So you have felt ones, you have wooden ones, which is also a lovely option.
You see, the wooden ones, like you obviously will have for years. I think I have my decorations. I don't throw any of my decorations out. Put them all back in. I mightn't use the same one again next year, but then I'll probably do it a second year.
That's it. You know, keep whatever it is. Make sure you mind things well and you keep them for years to come.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love a good DIY option. You know, there's a little one here. I put a picture of my babies. We were at climate protest, believe it or not. There you go. Shocking.
There you go.
There you go. That's them.
But it is the sort of stuff like ones like this. Like my mother still has ones that I made when I was 5.
Gorgeous.
You know, that sort of felt ones that we all have on the tree, and they're all very sentimental. And it's lovely. And there are things that you do at home with your family.
Will you ask Mary to send us in that picture of your decorations from when you made when you were 5?
Do you think my mother's sentimental? She's worse than you. Absolutely not. I'm the one putting them on the tree. She's like, I don't know who made that. There's 4 of you. One of you did it. Okay. What? She's going to murder me now. I'm sorry,
She's going to murder.
So I'm looking at these here, right?
Yeah.
And this really does bring me back to childhood, being in school and all
Toilet
that
roll
stuff.
holders.
So
That's
using stuff from around the house to make Christmas decorations.
Yeah. So we did this. I did with my kids, and we just love doing it. It's so simple. You're literally taking it, cutting it in a pointy little shape like this, and then you draw. I did it to the best of my abilities. Please don't judge me.
Well done.
They're
gorgeous.
just lovely. And I just get the kids involved in it. What is this? The Christmas cracker? But this is a homemade Christmas cracker.
It's actually an Irish business called Timeless Celebrations. Oh. It's a reusable cracker. So you pop, there's a Velcro thing here, and the gift is in there. You can choose to put whatever you want.
So you buy these and then you put the gifts in yourself, do you?
Yes.
Okay, that's a lovely idea. What are they called again?
Timeless Celebrations.
Timeless Celebrations.
So aren't they gorgeous? It's a very luxurious little thing.
Idea.
I'm sorry.
You can pull. Go for it.
Oh, I won. What am I going to do?
The thing
that's okay.
Yeah,
that's fine.
What did you win?
What is that? A little seed bomb.
Oh, it's a seed bomb.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
There you go.
That's nice, isn't it? I don't know if a 4-year-old is going to go mad for it, but then again, they only play with these things for about a second.
And I suppose a snow globe like that, you just have forever, don't you? It's just something that comes out year after year.
And we got our name engraved. This is the Kilkenny design one. And, you know, it's just a little memento for the family. Years to come, we're going to have that.
And if you're going to buy them like this, that you just will keep bring out year after year and they won't break.
And you know what? A very good tip. Use your wrapping paper, leftover wrapping paper, to wrap this stuff so they don't break. Yeah. So you're not throwing the wrapping paper into the bin.
I'm one of those people who uses newspaper to wrap my presents.
Love it.
Like, what's
why
the point
not?
on buying paper that can't be recycled?
Do you get presents with newspaper wrapping?
I use wrapping.
You can use magazines.
I wrap it in newspaper. It's grand. So, like, if there's Munsters on the cover, is on a picture for one of my friends, I give that to my mate because she's a big Munster fan. And I look at things and I try not to make them horrific stories. That's what I use.
Tommy's like, she's nuts.
It's all recyclable and it's cheap. I'm cheap.
Okay,
I'm cheap.
can we just, we've very, very little time left. The Christmas dinner and what you buy at Christmas for food-wise, because I'm sure we waste a lot of food at Christmas.
All of us. 70% of us buy extra just in case someone shows up at our door. That's an EPA statistic, right? So point here is make a list and check it twice. How many people are coming in? Meal plan. Try and reduce meat consumption if you can. You know, add a few more veggies, some alternatives, just to try and reduce the carbon emissions of your meal. And, you know, really buy what you need. You know, and then obviously leftover is very important. Share. Yeah, so either share with your friends, family.
People were saying the turkey curry on the Stevens' Day.
Your
and stuff
sandwiches,
like that,
whatever it is. But make sure you use everything. That's really important, of course. Food waste is a challenge.
And just really quickly, Nadine loves paper, makes these. These are DIY advent calendars here. You put these out and you put them on these things and you put your own advent calendars.
And this is gorgeous.
I love these gorgeous little things.
I got these done. It's Rudiola, I think I'm saying the name right. Sarah, she customizes. And how gorgeous is this for your door?
Gorgeous.
Lovely.
They are so nice.
Pat, some lovely ideas there for Christmas. And look, if we all just do our bit, that's all that matters.
You can't do everything, but you can do something.
Yeah, do something. Thank you so much for coming in this morning. Now, still to come, we're going to have reviews on the latest literature to help you buy for your bookworm in your life this Christmas.
We'll be back with you in a minute, in Ireland AM. Your book what?
My bookworm.
Hello, you are very welcome back now among some of the many things.
We'll find the hum in a while, guys.
Or will
find
we?
The hum in a while.
Who
That's
knows
why Derek's in Omagh this morning.
Because there's a strange
we're searching
hum.
for a hum.
Love it.
Who knows?
The things we do on this show.
Anyway, another thing we're doing on the show, we're talking about Christmas decorations. And we were talking about Christmas decorations that you've had for years and that have kind of sentimental value in your house and your parents won't throw them out. So Natasha has said, my pride and joy is my nan's angel from a million years ago. This poor angel used to have blonde hair and look all beautiful. He used to have blonde hair and look all Christmassy. Now it looks like she's had the year from hell with the morning after panda eyes.
Oh, that's brilliant. I love it.
It's still a good nick, to be fair.
Nick. Now, Barbara has sent this one. She says, I'm 43 and this is my mum and dad's Santa head decoration. It's older than me.
I think that looks gorgeous.
Oh, no, it's a fierce-looking Santa. You'd be afraid of him.
I really like it. I think it's lovely. Karen says, my Christmas dresser, it's full of memories, oh my God, from holidays and events over the years.
Oh, man.
It's bonkers but cheerful. Karen, is that up? Karen, is that up all year round? Can you let us know? 0896 111
Well, if it's from holidays and stuff, it obviously is. She probably takes the wreath down off the top.
Maybe she brings it. Oh, he's off the seat to have it all. He's off the seat to have a look, Karen. He's right up to the camera now.
There's like Disney characters and all sorts there.
Go on, back up, Tommy.
Love it. Love it.
They're so good.
The screen, the monitors up close, it's hard to get the zoom in.
Sinead.
That's insane. Fair play to you, Karen.
Did you enjoy that close-up there, lads? That's your Christmas present. My mum and dad had their honeymoon baby in the 60s. They bought a little plastic Santa the year he was born. Over the years, little Santa's beard needs a little bit of TLC. Every year, my brother keeps saying, would you not get rid of that ugly thing? Little does he know that it's sentimental to mum and dad.
We were also talking about your favourite Christmas songs because Christmas FM is back.
Yeah.
And
what's your favourite Christmas song? What did you just say it was?
Fairy Tale of New York.
Yeah, like Olivia, it has to be Fairy Tale in New York. Putting up the decorations, watching the show.
Good morning to you, Olivia.
Good morning to you, Olivia. Hope you've got Fairy Tale in New York or Riding Home for Christmas, Alan.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Alan was there going, singing around the Riding Home for Christmas. And we're all like, what are you singing? Driving Home for Christmas.
There's nothing better.
Fairy Tale of New York.
The one from the ad.
Oh, Dusty Springfield, I think I'm coming back.
Sorry,
I'm coming back. Favourite song, Silent Night by Frank Sinatra. Oh, never heard that one.
Anyway, thank you for your lovely text this morning. Getting all Christmassy. We're not even in December yet.
Yeah, if you'd like to keep them coming in, 0896
Tommy says there's a time and a place.
111.
Early.
After the break, we're going to be having a review of the latest reads from Romance to Rebels.
More of those coming up after the break.
Welcome back now from a dystopian drama, it's not real life apparently, to hilarious heartbreak. We've got the latest and greatest books for you to enjoy. We're promising a lot, aren't we?
Greatest. Well, no better person to fill us in on it all is Ciara King. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Hey, latest and greatest. There we go.
Well, we're kind of we're heading into the period now where everyone's going to be buying the books.
Yeah.
Big time. I'm looking for something, presents for everybody, stocking fillers. Let's start off with Dolly Alderton.
Yeah.
Her new book, Good Material.
Yeah, so if you know who Dolly Alderton is, she started off doing a problem page at the back of the Sunday Times Style magazine. And she talked very openly about relationships. And she wrote a book called Everything I Know About Love, and it's been turned into a TV show. And she very much shares her experience of being in her 20s, early 30s, going out on the dating scene. So this is her latest, Good Material. And fans of Dolly might be surprised that the main narrator in it is actually a male voice. His name is Andy. And Andy is just after going through a breakup with his girlfriend, Jen. And Andy's life is in a bit of a mess. His stand-up career hasn't taken off. He's kind of wondering how come all his friends' lives have moved on and he can't understand why himself and Jen didn't work out. So what Dolly Alderton is really good at, she's really good at writing about relationships. She makes the writing about relationships really relatable. No matter who you are, no matter where you are in this world, you know, someone at some stage might have gone through a breakup and you can feel that from the book. And there was moments that I was reading and I was like, oh God, this is actually really sad. But the main character, Andy, I found it really hard to like him. I was like, oh, come on, you big man-child. Like, honestly, that's what I found. And then she does this great, like, get your your crap together, Andy, or whatever. So I found Andy really, really hard to like.
But then she turns it around.
She does turn it around. And that's what kind of saved the book for me.
But you can't tell us because it's a spoiler,
No, it's not a spoiler as such, but you get Jen's point of view.
Okay.
So for the whole book, you get Andy's narrative of why they broke up, and you start thinking about what Jen is like a person, and then Jen comes in at the end and gives her perspective. So it's a really interesting perspective on two sides of a breakup.
Yeah, but is it sometimes hard then to kind of want to continue with the book when you're like, I really don't care? Like, I'm not rooting for you in any way, shape or form. Sometimes it can be hard.
But like, Miriam, I've found this over the last couple of years. There's been so many books that I've picked up and I have not liked the characters. So what do I do? Do I put the book down and walk away?
Well, that's what I do.
Fair.
Do you learn to like him in the end?
You definitely have compassion for him, I'll say that.
Okay. You understand.
Yeah, you do.
Dolly Alderton has this space, because obviously she had hugely successful podcasts as well. She's very much beloved. I'm a big fan of hers.
She was in the right place at the right time, you know what I mean? And she was in her 30s and she was in dating. She was very open about the dating scene in London. Yeah. Kind of Gen Z dating scene,
with,
you know
with all of that.
Yeah.
So with this kind of, I think we're all kind of looking for a new sort of Helen Fielding, all that kind of stuff. That's not this book.
No.
We're not getting our rom-com. It is sad.
No, it is. There's pockets of that are sad as well.
Okay. So from relationships to famine. The
Great
fantastic
crack on Ireland AM this morning,
Thomas
isn't it?
Keneally to get the Christmas stocking gift is going to really set it like this here.
So Thomas Keneally, people might know him because he wrote, like he's obviously a very famous writer, but he wrote Schindler's Ark, which was turned into Schindler's List, the Oscar-winning movie. And he is obsessed with writing historical figures, and that's what this book is about. It's based around the life of John Mitchell, who was an Irish freedom fighter, and he was very vocal about British rule in Ireland around the time of the famine. So this book is kind of set in and around his life and his relationship with his wife, Jenny, and the journey that John Mitchell goes on, but it's also fictional. So it's a historical fictional novel. It's so...
Like The Crown is meant to be. Real characters, but it's fake.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, it is so meticulously researched.
Okay.
If you're into your history, you'll love this book, but it was kind of more historical than fictional to me, and it just lacked a little bit of heart.
And
I found it a hard read.
About, you know, there was that whole thing with fellas think about the Roman Empire, like every day almost.
But yeah, that completely went over my head.
Well, it went over my head too.
Yeah.
It's not me. But we were talking to someone and they're saying, no, the famine. They think about the famine an awful lot.
Okay, so
this is the book for them.
So my old housemates were here. There was a stage where, like, we used to have parties, that, you know, in the house or whatever, and they'd get to the stage where they'd go into the kitchen and I'd be in the corner talking about the famine and transcendence and why Irish people are the way we are, and they used to be like, Ciara's talking about the famine again. And then I'd wake up the next morning and I was like, girls, was I talking about
the famine again?
Like, you were talking about the famine again last night.
But it gets into the whole thing. That's what I always do. I'm like, home ownership is about the famine.
Yeah.
But if I want to have a conversation with you in the kitchen that time, this is a great book to get researched so we can discuss it.
Well, yeah, maybe. Now, there's an awful lot to unpack with that book. And look, as I said, it's really well written. History buffs are going to love it, but I personally found it just lacked a little bit. It was a little bit cold.
Okay, so it takes his life in Ireland, freedom fighter, British rule, colonialism in Ireland, and then he is shipped to Australia, Van Diemen's Land.
Yes, it's over 3 different parts of his life.
3 different parts of his life. And you found it more historical, not warm. Did you feel a sense of attachment to these characters?
No. No, I didn't. I found it, a hard
A fantastic writer, obviously, as well. But I'm sure
Absolutely.
lots of people would love that. Now we're moving to the future. So Naomi Alderman with The Future.
Yeah, so this book literally starts off in the first sentence is, on the day the world ended. Okay, so you know exactly where the book is heading. It's talking about the future. The world is over, and 3 tech billionaires have gotten an out text message to give them a heads up on the world's been over. So they head off into their bunkers where they're obviously, you know, absolutely, the bunkers are well stocked, let's say, because they saw this coming. Then you have a social media influencer who's investigating these tech companies, and she comes across a friend who's a survivalist who grew up as... So it's all about dystopian future in the world. It's all about bunkers. It's all about preppers. It's all about being a survivalist in, you know, the future of the world. And it's just, there's a lot of big ideas in it. AI is brought up as well. And it's just a little bit too close to the bone for me.
Is it?
Such a good read, though, because it's like a love story. It's a heist. It's apocalyptic. It's got everything. But I'm finding that trend again and again. A lot of the books that we're reading right now, they involve tech billionaires. They involve AI storylines. You know, we're really in that era, I think.
We are at the moment.
It's where we are at the moment. So I'm dealing with that in real life. So there's a little part of me that doesn't want to read about that when I'm trying to escape from the real world in a book, but she does it very well.
So with this, like, because you talk here a little bit about, you love the deep dive into the way tech is damaging the fragile ecosystem.
Yeah.
So like it is obviously a fictional novel, but there's a lot of kind of parallels. Do you think, like, would it make you worry about where we're going?
I've kind of buried my head in the sand about AI because I just can't deal with it. I just cannot deal with it, and I would hate for the destruction of creativity, right?
Okay.
So, and a lot of the movies and TV shows I'm watching at the minute, it's the same theme. It's the tech billionaires, and so when I read it in the book, she really does focus in on it, and it does make it a little bit more kind of realistic that this is potentially what we're dealing with. But
I don't get it though. So the tech billionaires, they're survivalists, they're on the ground, they're grand.
They're not grand.
They're not grand. Is everyone else dead?
Everyone else isn't dead, but the world is ending, and people are just kind of finding their way to the certain pockets where they can be safe or whatnot.
Does it show what they're doing in, like, the last couple of days of their life?
The tech billionaires, you'd think they'd be...
What would you do?
The tech billionaires, do you think they'd be okay because they have the bunkers, but actually it's not what they anticipated as well. So it shows that side. Just because you're a tech billionaire and you've got a bunker to save from the world doesn't mean that everything works out.
Yeah, Elon.
Do you know?
Welcoming everyone into their bunkers.
What would you do?
Into their bunkers. I know, that would be an interesting one, wouldn't it?
Alan be riding home for Christmas, obviously, is what you said earlier on.
Okay.
What was your favourite?
Yeah, your favourite.
Oh, I liked The Future.
Okay, and it's a love story as well as a kind of a scary future thriller
it's got
that
a
the
whole.
world's
It's
over.
got a. Do you know, The Future had a lot going on. So I'm going to say The Future, but easy read. I'd say The Dolly. Good material.
Okay.
There you have it. Love it. Your team. I know which one I'd be picking.
Broken relationship, famine, and the end of the world.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Ciara King, as always. Thank you so much.
Fair play to you.
Still to come, we have got a shopper's guide to getting yourself a great pair of vintage jeans.
And the Ireland Poirot, Derek, is on the investigation in Omagh for a certain humming noise. Who knows? You're going to find out later in the show.
Welcome back. Vintage shopping.
Yes.
It's incredibly popular these days, and thank God. And we're here to ensure you can get second-hand success.
Yeah, showing us her tips and tricks for shopping and maintaining your vintage jeans is Gracie Collier from Vintage Spice. Good morning to you. How are we?
Good morning.
We've been talking about sustainability a good bit on the show this morning, and this is a great way of keeping it going as well.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. Like, it's great to be able to showcase, especially at this time of year when consumerism is so high. It's really nice to be able to be like, it's actually really easy to buy vintage. Maybe you should consider it for Christmas and consider it for presents, you know? So that's why I'm here today. We're going to talk all about vintage jeans.
So let's talk. Spice Vintage, you go and you source a pile of jeans all the time. What are the most popular ones at the moment?
So for me, I would always go for Levi's, Lee and Wrangler. They're like the main ones. They always have the best shape, you know? Like, it's also about, like, every single denim is a different style.
Yeah.
Vintage styles are all different, and the sizing is all different as well. That's what's killer. So vintage sizing is about 2 sizes lower than the sizes we have today as our standard sizing.
What do you mean lower? As in...
So let's say like a vintage size 8 is are now a size 12. Do you get me?
Okay.
So they were a lot smaller back then. So that's why I always tell my customers, don't go by the size in the tag, go by measurements.
Okay.
You've a cool way of measuring.
Yeah.
Tell me this now.
Alan's face.
We were talking about this.
None of this.
Alan was coming up against this earlier on, right?
This is ridiculous.
This is my hack.
Give me a
This
pair
is
of
my
jeans.
ultimate
Give me a
hack.
pair of jeans.
Now explain this. Hold on. Let
what do you
Gracie-
do?
So
What do you
this
do?
is my ultimate hack, right? You're shopping, you couldn't be bothered trying on a pair of jeans because it's effort and you're roasting, you've 10 jackets on, it's winter, right?
Yeah.
You go into the shop and you will look like a lunatic, but I'm telling you it works. When I had a shop, this is what I did with all my customers. If they weren't arsed try out a pair of jeans, this is what we did,
So you
right?
don't want to be trying them on.
You couldn't be bothered trying them on, but you want to be, you know, knowing that they'll
what
fit
do you do?
So put them around your back, wear them like a cape,
Like this?
like this, bring them around to your neck, and
Front
if
of your
they
neck.
meet around your neck,
And then they don't.
and they're not going to fit you.
They don't fit you. They're not going to fit you.
I'm sorry to tell you. Yeah,
Well,
so
I
if
could
they,
have told you that
so
now
if
by
they-
just doing that.
No, but because it's the waist, you see.
So then you go. We've been doing this with loads of things all day. Now, this doesn't fit me, and then Gracie was like, it does.
It does. So they meet.
They're just going to be very tight. So what is the
It
science
meets.
behind this?
So the science is your neck is half the circumference of your waist. So if you double it up,
What about some
that's
people
your
who have
waist.
big necks and small waists?
I've never seen it not work.
Well, you've never seen
Alec
this
wrote
not
to me.
work?
Alec was like, I don't believe this. I'm like, I'll tell you, it works.
'Cause
It's
I-
been tried and tested in real life.
I hate trying on jeans. But
Yeah,
let's be honest,
same.
a lot of modern jeans would have a lot of lycra in them.
Yeah.
So this is for denim.
This is for denim,
jeans.
and real true vintage denim. If you look at the tag, it will say cotton and twill. That's what you want to look for, cotton and twill.
Because you were saying earlier on about how to spot a fake.
Yeah.
So how would you spot a fake?
Specifically with Levi's, if you look at the hardware on
Levi, is
Levi's,
Yeah,
right?
the hardware.
So it'll always say it on the button. It'll always say it on the zip. There'll be an inside tag.
This tag could be fake, could it?
This is it, you see. So it would be kind of plasticky.
Yeah, so
it would
that
be
could
bright. So the lettering would be bright. And I've seen some gas. They'd be like all wobbly. And like all the lettering would be different sizes and stuff. It's like, lads, if you're going to do fake, you might as well
Do
do
it
a good
properly.
one, you know?
Yeah.
So
The little button and
the little button.
would have
there's
the
always
Levi's
going to be a
sign
serial number. There's also a serial number on the inside
and
of the
would
zip.
Wrangler and them have the same thing on the button?
Generally, yeah. And to see if it's a really old pair of jeans, it will say made in the USA. So made in the USA means, you know, that it's a real old pair of jeans, because obviously like mass manufacturing of clothing stopped a couple of years ago, in like a good few years ago now in America.
Yeah.
They don't make them there anymore. It's all outsourced. So if it says made in the USA, you're like, right, 20 years old at least.
Proper vintage.
Yeah, proper vintage. Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh, another fake, just before I go, another fake is if the lines in the denim if it's liney. This is the only way I can describe it. If the denim is liney, then it's fake.
It's fake.
I don't know, it's the only way I can describe it.
I get it. Listen, hey, I just want to keep on wearing
You know, when
jeans
you're paying for a pair of... How much should you be paying for something like this now? If you have a good pair of original Levi's in a vintage shop.
Yeah.
How much should you be paying for them?
You need to look at the tag. So these ones here, they're a little red tag, right? It also says a little... You see the little R there? Keep an eye out for that as well. If that's not on it, they're fake. But the orange Levi's tag, that's a 1960s.
Yes.
And that's like, if you find it,
I still have a pair at home.
Yeah. They're rare, really rare. So in the 1960s, Levi's decided to bring out a new the new wave of denim, and it was bell bottoms and boot cuts. Yes. Yeah, exactly. And they're an orange tag. So if you have an orange tag Levi's...
How much should you pay for them?
Well, in around 60 quid.
And
but a normal... These ones now, max 30. But some vintage shops are... You know yourself, they charge up. But for me personally, I wouldn't charge any more than that, because I want to give people access. I don't want to be charging too much.
Yeah, you don't, but
super important.
Like, we all have jeans and you say, oh, they last forever, but they look fantastic. How do you keep a pair of jeans? Like, how often do you wash a pair of jeans?
You see, this is it, because it's controversial, Anna, right? Because you have to say to people, do you know what? Just leave it as long as you can.
Yeah.
Leave it as long as you can.
They're walking out on
water.
Their own.
yeah, literally walking out to the washing machine. But cold water, let them hang dry. Never put them in a dryer. Never wash them in really hot wash. Okay. You know, and prolong it as long as you can. If you're trying to get a stain out of a pair of denim jeans, make sure you don't go against the denim like this. Yeah. You want to go with the denim, because you'll mark it. Yeah. But nowadays, I suppose that's kind of cool, isn't it? Like to have like scuffed denim or whatever. But yeah, just go with the denim. Go with it.
Let's look at some of the things that you have over here, and I want to look at the one with the trench coat.
Oh,
the
yeah, that's a bit of you, isn't it?
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
So a double denim look is actually called a Canadian jumpsuit.
Yes.
That's what they call it. And this is a pair of... I was delighted because that the model was a small size, because it could showcase that these
Our model
jeans...
here this morning.
She's a skinny one. But you know what? I was delighted because these are like a larger size. They're about a 32-inch waist, but it showcases that if you want a baggier fit of a jean, get it 2 sizes down. So right now I'm wearing men's jeans. Yeah. They're 2 sizes bigger, like too big for me, so they sit lower and they're baggier, for that baggier shape.
And that's one thing when you're going with, say you're buying Levi's or proper jeans, and you're like yourself a waist 30, but you want that baggy style look that goes here.
Exactly,
Go up to your 32, your 33 waist. And
just let it sit lower on your hips, and then you'll also get the wider legs. So it's actually good that it's showcasing this now, because they're essentially too big on her. Yeah. But then she gets that she's a person now, gets the baggy fit. Gets that baggy fit, you know.
And moving on to these ones?
Yeah, so this is a big trend for the season. Is the lace overlace. So this is over the jeans. So skirts over jeans, lace over jeans, sheer fabric over jeans. It's a big one, you know. So I just popped this little lace. This is actually a negligee over the jeans. Popped on a little denim vest to keep her decent. Lads, I'm over here trying to talk to you.
I know, sorry.
You're getting distracted.
Women's gone shopping.
I'm going shopping. I'm not even...
That's actually lovely with that.
It's cool, isn't it?
Lovely with that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is so good.
I just brought some bits to showcase what you could style it with.
All things for denim. Yeah. Again, that very 90s look is all in. But then, you know, the Canadian tuxedo with the trench coat, that's never going anywhere.
No.
Ever. That's been around.
Trench coats are massive as well. Like, I'm buying them the whole time now.
Are you?
Yeah. And then there was a period where I wasn't, but then they came in and they're looking for them now. And it's just the quality is there, you know, that you wouldn't get, because you get them on the high street, but like the quality is in the vintage ones. They're heavier, they're more durable. Like, Yeah, they're really popular.
And there's really good deals to be had on them. Now, Spice Vintage, of course, you can find Spice Vintage online.
Throw it on there.
Oh, sorry.
I thought you were going to put it on.
You can find Spice Vintage online. Obviously, that's where Gracie does stuff. But you've got a pop-up this weekend.
Yeah, do you know what? Shameless plug, but my pop-up shop is actually this Saturday.
Where's your pop-up shop?
So I'm having a pop-up shop in Dublin in the Hen's Teeth this Saturday, 12 till 5. All of these clothes will be there.
Hen's Teeth?
The Hen's Teeth, it's like an events venue and a restaurant. It's just off South Circular Road, near the Fumbly. Do you know the Fumbly?
Near the
So it's in
right
Dublin
there.
8.
Yes.
This weekend.
This weekend, this Saturday. You
Fab
look gorgeous.
Give me along. I want to be Beth.
Yeah.
I want to be Beth from Coronation Street. Not coming into the Rovers. Get out.
And if they go on to Vintage Spice, all the stuff about the pop-up will be there. Spice Vintage.
It'll be Spice Vintage will be on my Instagram. Yeah.
And
So
all the stuff about the pop-up will be there.
Exactly.
Always a pleasure having you on. You're great.
Thank you so much.
You might get this back.
Maybe not, but I'm not mad.
I'm looking at the jeans. Wrap the jeans around your neck.
Wrap it around your neck. Alan, are you converted?
I'm converted
He's
now.
converted
yes,
now.
thank
There
you
you
so
go.
much.
Gracie, thank you so much for coming in. Gracie Collier, Spice Vintage, as always, thank you so much. Now, we've been talking about this all morning. After the break, a mysterious noise is keeping Omagh residents up at night.
Yeah, so we've sent Derek to investigate. Has he solved the mystery? Find out after the break.
See you in a minute.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, Derek is in Omagh in County Tyrone this morning. He's solving the mystery of the a humming noise that's taking over the town. What's happening, Derek?
Guys, I kind of feel like Inspector Poirot here in the town this morning, because the more I'm here in Omagh, the more I'm learning about this hum in County Tyrone. And join us now is local councillor Barry McElduff. Barry, have you heard the hum?
I have. I definitely have. About 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, you know, and there was a kind of a low frequency monotone sound, a bit like a drone. But a woman coming down the street here this morning, she said it might be an agricultural thrasher, but who would be thrashing at 11 o'clock at night?
Well, look, a lot of people agree with you, a lot of people don't agree with you. Here's what the locals had to say. Take a look. So, Patricia, have you heard the humming noise?
Yes, Derek, I have heard the humming noise, and I live on the Tamlet Road, and basically that's where it is. We don't know what it is. I've heard it late at night. It hasn't really affected my sleeping as much, but as other people. But basically, that's all I have to say on the matter.
What do you think it is, Patricia?
Haven't got a clue, and I don't think anyone in Omagh has a clue what it is.
So, Michael, have you heard the hum?
No, I haven't, to be honest. I've heard a lot of talk about it, but I would come quite close. I come around a walk every morning called the Riverside Walk, which would be very close to the industrial estate. Now, I don't hear it.
Michael, what do you think the hum is?
I have no idea what the hum is, but obviously it's causing some annoyance to people.
Connie, have you heard the hum?
I have never heard this humming noise. No, I haven't. No, I haven't. But a lot of people that come into the shop are complaining about it.
So, Leo, have you heard about the hum?
No, I haven't heard about the hum. But my daughter and my son has heard it. And they don't know what noise it is. They don't know where it's coming from.
And when did they hear it?
Oh, I heard it about 3 or 4 weeks ago. They're still here, I think, today.
And they don't know what it is?
They don't know what it is. They don't know, so...
So, Lawrence, have you heard this humming sound?
I haven't heard it, but my son lives up in Coolnagard, where the sound is supposed to originated from. And that is all I know. I know nothing more or nothing less.
Yeah, so there we have it. That is the view of the locals here on the ground. Barry, are people bonkers? What's going on?
Well, I think Ireland AM's bonkers, Declan, because it took something to get you to the county town of Tyrone. Why weren't you here before? You know?
Yeah. Now, there is a serious side to this as well. First up, we have an environmental impact study assessment. The local council have called them in. When's that meeting happening?
Well, on the second Wednesday of December at 7 o'clock, 7 p.m, 1900 hours, there shall be the meeting of the Environmental Services Committee. So the relevant director will be reporting to the councillors on an update, you know. So we hope to get some information then, you know. Would love the pursuit of the noise to end there and then.
Now, bearing in mind, there are 2 local wind farms in the area. There's the Bessie Bell and another one down the road as well. Is it potentially from there?
Well, you see, there's denials. You know, the the renewable firm in question has denied it. So too has Omagh St Enda's GAA Club denied that it could be their new state-of-the-art floodlights at O'Neill's Healy Park. But one thing was certain, there was a huge hum here at the weekend, right where we were standing. There was 5,000 people switching on the Christmas lights in the finest retail offering and hospitality town in Ireland.
You're so mad, you're so mad. But, like, there's a lot of people saying as well, it's sabotaging their sleep.
Well, there is an aspect to that. People are losing sleep over this. But, you know, a friend of my son's, he said to him in a WhatsApp message that he had a dream the previous night that he found the source of the noise, the hum, and that he was a local hero and he received national acclaim throughout Ireland for uncovering this. It was a dream, and this lad's in his mid-20s.
So maybe it could come true. Anyway, look, we've done our best to get to the bottom of the hum here this morning in Omagh in County Tyrone. Barry, thank you so much for joining us. For me and my new hum honey, give us a hum there.
Hum.
Back to Dublin.
Love it. We've done our job.
Love it.
We've done our job. We did our best.
My hum honey.
Sorry, someone get Barry to be the head of Fáilte Ireland. That was brilliant.
That meeting's at 1900 hours. Remember now, 1900 hours.
Love
local Gaelic football club. Stuck on the floodlights. And all of a sudden,
listen,
thanks to everyone in Omagh.
This morning.
Thank you so much.
We will get to the bottom of it, don't you worry. And we were talking about Christmas decorations that you may have had for many, many years. And Anne sent in this picture of a Santa brooch. Now, she got this when she was in school, when she was 4 years old, and she's now 68. So 64 years old. She says that when she was growing up, they had very little, so this was a big deal when she got it. And she still puts it on the Christmas tree every year.
That is
Isn't that amazing?
gorgeous.
The little Santa brooch.
So lovely. Garth sent us in this picture of an angel that sits upon his mother's tree in Donegal. Garrett says that every year his mother sends him a picture of the angel on top of the tree, and this is the 40th year of the angel.
40th year, same angel.
In that really comfortable position.
And look at that. And the colour of it's not really angel colour, is it? Sort of a burnt orange.
She's been through the wars.
Burnt orange angel.
She's seen it all, that angel. Niamh got in touch with these pictures of homemade decorations courtesy of her mother. There you go. Now, she says that growing up, they didn't have a lot of money, and her mother made these decorations out of matchboxes and sweet papers. They're hanging on Niamh's tree now for 50 years.
That is amazing. That is brilliant. Well, we're talking about it all morning.
Was doing early, exactly showing how it can be usable.
Done. Mairead sent us in this picture of her Santa decoration. She said, it's been in her life longer than her two wonderful boys who are 11 and 13. She says, it's a bit worse for wear now, but still going strong. Oh, it looks cute.
The next picture was sent in by Helen. It was bought for her daughter about 42 years ago, and the little mouse comes out every single year. Does that have ice skates on it?
We've one more. Elizabeth has this snowman for 57 years. She said it's still in the original box.
That looks a bit odd as well now, in fairness.
It looks melted. 2 years old.
She picked it up in Hector Graves in Dublin. I love it.
Helen,
thank you.
I love it. Thank you so much. That's all we've got time for today. We've got so much coming up on tomorrow's show, like singer-songwriter Roisin O will be here.
We've got Christmas gifts, gadget gifts as well to impress everybody at Christmas.
And of course, we're going to be talking about sleep trends. We'll all be interested in that. See you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye-bye.